There is a Japanese design principle that when I first learned about, immediately changed how I saw the world. It simply describes what good design is and how you know that it's good design. And at Irrational Labs, we apply this principle to all the work that we do. I'm excited to share today basically how to mistake-proof your product design using this poka yoke principle. And warning, 2 examples that I will use involve toilets. Okay, so what exactly is this powerful design principle? It's called poka yoke, and in a poka yoke system, it's nearly impossible to do the wrong thing. It's nearly impossible to do anything but the right thing. The concept was developed by a Japanese manufacturing quality engineer at Toyota, and he basically was observing the assembly line, and he noticed that workers occasionally forgot to install this small sprig under the button. And instead of blaming the worker, he redesigned the process to make errors physically impossible. And that's the essence of this idea. It shifts responsibility from the user to the system. So rather than telling people to be more careful or try harder, the poka yoke system prevents mistakes from happening in the first place. And when done right, these systems make the correct action so intuitive, so natural, that users can't mess up even if they tried. My favorite example of this is author Orson, the author of Ender's Games, Orson Card Scott, basically said in my recent podcast, and shameless plug for my podcast, The Irrational Mind. If you haven't listened, you should. But he says that he writes words so that the reader could not possibly read it in a way that he did not intend. He uses bold and breaks and italics to ensure that the reader or the actor is doing it in a way that the script intends. By the way, behavioral science also has a term for this. We call this choice architecture, and it implies that you, the person who is designing this system, is basically architecting the user's decisions in the moment. And in this teardown, I'm going to give you lots of examples of poka yoke, and hopefully this will inspire you to relook at some of your designs to ensure that it is mistake-proof. Okay, the main example that people use when they're talking about this is cars. And basically, why are there 2 pedals in cars, but you only use 1 foot? If you have 2 pedals and 2 feet, you actually may make a mistake in the moment. Let's say something's quickly happening and you may hit the brake and the gas at the same time. So by having 1 foot assigned to both pedals, it is almost physically impossible to hit them both at the same time. So you don't have to understand how a car works. You don't have to know or remember something at the right time. This is actually the mistake-proof design that we're talking about. Okay, more examples. So we can't run a dishwasher when the door is open. Another one, spell check, makes it almost impossible for you not to see the errors. Another favorite one is electrical plugs. Like, you actually really can't insert a 3-prong plug into a 2-prong outlet. You don't need to know about electricity or care or have safety concerns. You just can't do it. And so when you're designing this behavior change solution for yourself or your users, you should assume that people don't care, don't know, don't remember, and that they will make mistakes, and they can still succeed in behavior change if the system is done right. I was in Taiwan, and I got exposure to things that we don't normally see in the US, or at least as much, and I'm going to show you 2 things that are not mistake-proof to hopefully learn from them as well. And the first one is our first toilet example, which is basically the flush button. So in European or Asian cultures, this is quite common, and it's designed to save water by giving the user a way to do a half flush versus a full flush. Very nice, but they have similar sizes and no label, and so it's really easy to make a mistake. A true poka yoke design would have the correct intuitive choice obvious. So maybe there's more labels or visual indicators, or the button sizes are so obvious you can't miss it, or you don't even have to do anything because maybe a sensor determines what it should do on your behalf. Okay, that's the toilet example number 1. Toilet example number 2 is this sign. So there's a lot of these signs in Taiwan, and it basically says, don't stand on the toilet. And by the way, you should never really tell people what not to do. You should always direct them what to do, because if you say what not to do, maybe you'll get the idea that you should do it. Like I was like, should I be standing on the toilet? You would basically design the toilet seat to make it impossible for people to stand on it. That's the type of thinking. 0 to 1, you would design something to make it hard for people to make a mistake. Taiwan also had a couple fun innovations by which you can't actually sit down at a coffee shop. You can't actually hang out and work without ordering a drink. And drinks are really high priced. They're like $6. And in Taiwan, the $6, you could get lots of food for that amount of money, but everyone here works from coffee shops, so why would they do that? They're basically making sure that you're paying for your seat. They're requiring you to buy a drink. By the way, I tried to buy food once and like, no, you have to buy a drink. Why? Because the food is lower price. So if they allowed people to buy food, they make it not get compensated in the way that they want. By saying you have to buy a drink, it ensures that they're actually getting paid. The other thing that I love about Taiwan restaurants is that it's my fault if I order the wrong thing. So almost all restaurants have a little paper card where you fill out and you say, this is what I want. Now, why is this good? There's no middleman to take the order and verbally write it down. The customer does this. And so while server mistakes in the US aren't that common, they do happen. You order the burger, they bring the fried chicken or something like this. We all have the server example of them forgetting something. But in this system, it will not happen. We're not relying on human memory to do anything. And if you make a mistake, you have proof that it was not a mistake. They also have little buttons that you can call a server over with. So again, like the server could be very busy, not check on you, you get annoyed. But in this system, you actually call with a button, and then not just your server, but any server can come and check on you. Okay, so this series, this poka yoke series is a two-parter. I'm going to pause here. The next video will give you more examples about how to apply this in the tech world and how product design can become more mistake-proof. But for now, the takeaway is that good design isn't about blaming the users for mistakes. It's about creating a system where errors are nearly impossible to make. And if you like this stuff, you should obviously subscribe. Substack doesn't make it mistake-proof. To let you do that, you're going to have to physically find the button and do it. And then second, email me if this is interesting. Our behavioral science team does this all day long. info@rationallabs.com, and we can mistake-proof things together.